Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest on the potentially very stormy weather we could be seeing this upcoming working week. The latest runs are pretty much in agreement now that we are going to see a really quite severe low pressure system centred out in the North Atlantic at the moment, move through Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland, up towards Scotland, and on its southern and eastern edges, we're looking at wind gusts at least of 70 or 80 miles per hour. Pretty much all models have that. Some are even getting up to 90 or 100 miles per hour, especially on approach to the Republic of Ireland. So we'll have a look at that in detail today. It is looking pretty likely that this will be the first named storm of the 2023-2024 season, Storm Agnes. I can't say that for official yet because it's not been officially named, but I am pretty sure, considering the latest data we do have. So we'll have a look at the latest live radars. We do have some very heavy rain around at the moment. We'll have a look at the weather warnings, as we do have a yellow rain warning issued at the moment. But we also have some preliminary yellow wind warnings issued for Wednesday and Thursday because of this potential named storm. We'll have a look at the UKV, look at the precipitation and over the next precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days, and then we'll have a look at some of the longer range runs with their wind gusts as well. Some of them are extremely lively. GFS with well over 100 mile per hour wind gusts for parts of the Republic of Ireland. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well. The link's in the description. So if you start on the live radar, you can see we've got some quite heavy rain around at the moment, as we have got an approaching low pressure system at the moment. It's not nothing ridiculous, out of the ordinary low pressure system, but it has got some quite heavy rain that is focused in a few spots, especially across parts of Scotland, and that heavier rain really is arriving at the moment. A lot of the heavier stuff is out towards Northern Ireland, these yellows, oranges and reds indicating rainfall rates of 5 to 10 millimetres or even higher in a few spots per hour. So rainfall really totting up in these areas, but it's really going to last all this evening into much of the overnight hours for Scotland, and this is where we have a yellow warning. Now, as this low pressure approaches, it's actually bringing up a southerly wind, and for much of England and Wales, we're in the warmer sector. So today, temperatures are actually pretty decent. The wind gusts are up. We're seeing winds gusting 20, 30 miles per hour, so it doesn't feel all too warm. But if you have gone outside today, it is a little bit muggier than it has been the past few days, and that's because we're in this warm sector with southerly winds. But elsewhere, the rain is moving in. The cold front, eventually, with some of this rainfall out towards the Irish Sea and Bristol Channel at the moment, will move through, but it'll be much weaker as it moves through in the overnight hours. Now, after you put on the temperatures just before 3 p.m, you can see quite a few more oranges appearing on the charts today. Haven't seen that in a number of days, and that is those warmer sector. Air mass is moving in. You can see much less in terms of the blues further northwards and westwards, as it is, yes, raining, cloudy, pretty horrible, but the temperatures are up with that warmer sector. If you look at the weather warnings now, you'll be able to see we have this rain warning issued for Scotland. Expires at midnight tonight. Again, persistent and heavy rain expected on Sunday afternoon and evening. Again, it hasn't been updated since yesterday, so we won't have a look at it in too much detail. But if you are in these areas, there is going to be some heavy rain, and it could cause some issues overnight tonight, maybe even into tomorrow morning. But the weather warnings do want to really look at the warnings for Wednesday and Thursday. Now, it is pretty early for the Met Office to be issuing these warnings. Generally, we don't see the Met Office issue warnings more than around 24 to 48 hours ahead. But here we're seeing it, 3-4 days ahead, and it's because there is very strong model consensus that we are going to see extremely strong winds as we head into Wednesday and Thursday. Now, unfortunately, Met Office warnings don't cover the Republic of Ireland, and maybe because this storm is looking likely it's going to really impact Republic of Ireland, we may have a look at Met Erin's warnings maybe in the next couple of days. But at the moment, you can see there is a massive blanket yellow wind warning, as this is the rough track of where the strongest winds will go. Again, not all these areas are unlikely to see the 70-80 mile per hour gusts, but it is likely to fall within this warning, and that's why we've seen this issued preliminary. Starts at 10 a.m. on Wednesday, all the way to 7 a.m. on Thursday, so almost a 24-hour warning. A spell of strong winds is expected to move northeast through Wednesday, with a small chance that they could be significantly disruptive. If you do look at this, you can see it's a high impact already, low likelihood. Again, we're many days out, so you wouldn't expect the likelihood to be particularly high. A deep area of low pressure is expected to approach Southwest Island early on Wednesday and track across northern parts of the UK before clearing early on Thursday. There is uncertainty on the precise track and the depth of the low. However, the most likely outcome at the present is for a wide swathe of 50 to 60 miles per hour to affect inland areas. Inland being the important word there, because 40, 50, even 60 miles per hour on exposed coasts isn't unusual for a low pressure system in the UK. But inland, with trees still in fairly full leaf, as we have had some quite strong summery weather recently, it could cause a lot of disruption, and perhaps locally stronger over and to the lee of hills in the north. Some Irish Sea coast could even see 65 to 75 miles per hour with a small chance of 80 miles per hour. And I'm telling you now, some models even have 85 or 90, some of the stronger models. But yeah, I do agree with this, that the consensus is widely 50 to 60, locally 65, 70, 80 miles per hour possible. But if the more severe runs do come off, then it could be even more likely. And at this stage, I do think it will be named, as I said at the start of the video, Storm Agnes, and I do think that we will probably see an amber warning issued, perhaps for Northern Ireland, parts of North Wales, and maybe for southern Scotland as well. Again, that's just from looking at the models at the moment, but as I said, they could still change. We have to keep a very close eye on this system. Now, if you go over to the UKV, we'll be able to see this system move in for Wednesday and Thursday. You can see the rainfall moving in at the moment, giving quite heavy, persistent rain in places overnight tonight. Could be a bit of a squall feature on the back edge of the cold front here, but the cold front does lose its intensity as it heads northwards and eastwards. So for many areas, the cold front moves through, but really has very little impact, again, falling through the early hours of the morning. As we do progress beyond that into Monday afternoon, it's not too bad of a day. A few showers around, but nothing too crazy. Into Tuesday, we see a bit of heavier rain, some convective rain moving in, but again, nothing too severe, some heavier pulses in places. But it's really, as we head into Wednesday, look at the low approaching. Now, it doesn't look too severe on the precipitation. This really is going to be a windstorm. Yes, it's going to have heavy rain with it. Perhaps we could see a yellow warning issued for rainfall in a few spots, but it really is the wind that is the most dangerous feature of this system. You can see the wrapping around the centre of the low, the hook appearing in the weather fronts, just showing you the intensity of this low. And it's on this southern and eastern flank through Wednesday evening where those winds could be extremely severe as it does move through, and then more heavy rain through Thursday and Friday. As I said, if we look at those wind gusts, you can see as we approach on Wednesday, by Wednesday lunchtime, look at that, widely 70, 80 or 85 miles per hour out towards the south of the Republic of Ireland. As we head towards 3 p.m, again, 70, 80, maybe even 85 miles per hour widely for coastal areas, inland, widely 60 to 70. As we progress through the evening, the intensity does reduce slightly, but still looking widely at 70 to 80 miles per hour out to sea, inland maybe 60 to 70, and then really could impact wide areas of northern Wales and northern England, southern Scotland, and Northern Ireland. Again, the intensity slowly dropping here. We think the peak intensity for this system will be right as it starts to approach southern parts of the Republic of Ireland. So here, Republic of Ireland could be the worst hit area for wind, but we're going to see widespread, gusty, stormy conditions with widely 50 to 60 miles per hour, maybe as high as 70 miles per hour overnight into the early hours of Thursday, before eventually it does clear away and we stay fairly gusty beyond that. If you look at the max temperatures, you'll be able to see that today, 19, 20, maybe even a 21 out there through the afternoon, and it will stay fairly warm as we head into tomorrow. Again, could see a 20 or 22. As we head into Tuesday, again, 2022 in the far southeast, got some warm air, but that's not going to be the best, as that's actually going to aid the development of the low into Wednesday. You can see by Wednesday, 21 or 22 in the southeast, much cooler further northwards and westwards under that low, and then into Thursday, temperatures still right in the 17 or 18, but cooling down elsewhere. We can actually have a look at the upper air temperatures. You can see how those upper air temperatures wrap into the system, and that is what is giving it all its energies. It's the different air masses colliding, and providing a really, really lively area of low pressure. Now, if you look at the longer range, if you start with the GFS, it is looking fairly stormy for the foreseeable future. There could even be more named storms on the horizon. Now, the latest GFS does have that low approaching as we head into Wednesday. Really lively system, and this is one of the runs that does produce gusts of over 100 miles per hour on its approach to the Republic of Ireland. Beyond that, we could see some brief high pressure build in as we head into next weekend, but more lows could be approaching. And as we head into the extended range, could see another named storm with even stronger wind gusts here into the longer term, keeping it really horrible and really unsettled. Now, if you go over to WX charts, we're able to see the wind gusts as we do progress through this week. Now, I can see there is fairly gusty winds around as we have generally got areas of low pressure moving in. We're not looking much higher than 50 or 60 miles per hour out to sea, and inland areas 20 or 30. But as we approach Wednesday, look at the greys and blacks appearing within the centre of the low. You can see here down on the bottom right of the screen, we're seeing max winds of as much as 113 miles per hour within this system. You can see those drop as it starts to make impact, but still 98 miles per hour as this system makes landfall around 962 millibars down towards parts of the Republic of Ireland. Now, those winds again weaken slightly as we head into Wednesday lunchtime, still though 80, maybe 90 miles per hour, and eventually widely 60, 70 or 75 as it sweeps through large swathes of Northern Ireland, North England, Northern Wales and Southern Scotland, eventually clearing through. And as we get into the longer range, you can see more quite severe lows approaching, not quite as severe as the system on Wednesday, and right in the extended range, look at that system there. It is as intense, but it's larger. Yes, sticking further out to whole west, so those severe winds don't quite impact areas maybe apart from Western Republic of Ireland, but it could be another extremely lively area of low pressure. We could just see that on the North Atlantic. Look at that low pressure system. Could be a very windy next couple of weeks if this sort of pattern does continue. And if you look at the GM now, again you can see low pressure continues coming off the west. The system moving in on Wednesday, not quite as intense from the GM, but still really quite horrible. High pressure does try and make some impact in towards day 10, and it actually has a good go. The upper air temperatures do improve, and it actually could go warmer and drier as we head into early October. I must say, some of the runs had been showing that over the last week or two, but every time it does show, as we get nearer to the time, the low pressure in the Atlantic wins out. So GM could be overdoing this, but at least there's a little bit of a glimmer of hope for something a bit drier and warmer as we do head into October. Now, unfortunately, WX Charts wasn't loading the wind speeds for the GM, so we'll have to look at it on Wetter Central, which isn't as good for the graphics. But you can see as we get into Wednesday, very strong winds once again on its southern edge. These are the sustained wind speeds. These are not the wind gusts. And sustained wind speeds here, we're looking at maybe 30 or 40 miles per hour as this approaches. But the most important thing is looking at this is it has a very similar track to the other runs. So again, maybe slightly not quite as intense. Again, if we look at the pressure, only 980, 86, 84 millibars there, not down towards 960 or whatever the GFS and even the UKV was showing. But regardless, still an intense area of low pressure and would warrant warnings, maybe not quite naming though, looking at this system. But it's following the very similar track, and most other runs have been quite a bit more intense. Now, the Eastern WF is one of those runs, and at the moment you can see low pressures coming in off the Atlantic, staying extremely lively as that potential named storm moves in from the west. Beyond that, high pressure does try and build in like the GM was showing, but low pressure continues to win out, and towards day 10 we've got another approaching low off the Atlantic, and you can see lots of rainfall indicating low pressure is going to be pretty dominating over the next couple of weeks. If we go back to WX charts, you can see that low approaching on Wednesday. Extremely severe system. Again, those greys and blacks on the southern edge. Again, 100 miles per hour, 112 here as it approaches southern Republic of Ireland, reducing to more 70, 80, maybe 85 miles per hour widely here, for eventually reducing further towards 60, 70 as we head into Thursday and beyond. So very intense as it approaches, but weakens quite quickly, quicker than the GFS and the UKV does. So you see from all the models we've looked at today, we'll probably have a look at more in the next couple of days when we have more of the shorter range runs. have this in their timeline, we have to look at it in more detail. But all the runs we looked at today all showing very severe conditions as we head into Wednesday and Thursday. Yes, GM not quite as severe. The UKV, GFS, and Eastern VF pretty severe. And of course, timings and exact positioning still yet to be determined. But it is looking extremely lively, and I'm pretty sure, I'd say 80 or 90% sure, that this will be a named storm, and we will see further warnings as we do head over the next couple of days. Now, if you finish by looking at the ensembles, you can see upper air temperatures are going to be all over the place over the next couple of weeks. Times it's going to be above average, slightly below average. Yes, longer term it's looking more above average, but that is pretty much symbolic of a west to southwesterly flow with lots of precipitation, keeping it very unsettled. Sea level pressure is going to be up and down as well. You can see all these little ups and downs indicating that we are going to be very unsettled into the longer term. And if you compare to the ECMWF, again, up and down temperatures and lots of precipitation, and the sea level pressure is going to be very up and down as well. And just to finish looking at Glasgow for this, you can see the dip in pressure into Wednesday and Thursday. Again, this is about 100 so about 10 or 15 millibars lower than this was showing yesterday, indicating that more of the ensemble members have the track moving through southern Scotland. And as I said, looking at the latest operational runs is the most likely route for this system. So anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure you stay safe out there over the next couple of days and keep up to date with either the videos or the weather warnings, as it is going to be a very lively middle part to this working week. Regardless if this gets named, regardless if those warnings change, it is going to be very unsettled, very windy, especially in those northern and western areas, and especially for the Republic of Ireland as well. We may focus on that in the next couple of days, looking at some of the Met-Erin warnings, as well as this system really could batter parts of the south coast of the Republic of Ireland. So we will have to see. But do stay safe out there for the next couple of days, and I'll see you again for another video soon.